All right, let's talk about a phrase that on the surface sounds like someone's just being kind. But really, it's often a powerful and frankly sneaky form of emotional manipulation. The kind of thing that can happen to you without you even realizing what's going on. After everything I've done for you. Wow. Just let that sink in for a second. Have you ever heard that one? And right after, did you feel that sudden sinking feeling in your stomach? Like a wave of guilt just washes over you and you're not even sure why? Trust me, you are not alone. And that feeling, it's very, very real. So, this really brings us to a super important question. When someone does something nice for you, is it actually a favor, a real, genuine gift, or is it something else? Is it actually a fee for some future compliance? You know, that jolt of guilt, that sudden pressure you feel to just go along with what they want? Yeah, that's not an accident. It's not some random side effect. That feeling is the entire point. It's the intended outcome of a tactic that's specifically designed to control how you react. Okay, so we've talked about that uncomfortable feeling. Now, let's actually put a name to this strategy, because giving it a name really helps you see what's happening in those moments. We call this the after everything I've done trap, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when a past kindness, something that seemed so generous at the time, is suddenly whipped out and used against you. It's not a fond memory anymore. It's an IOU. It's a debt that you're suddenly being told you have to repay right now. And this, right here, this is the real kicker. It takes something that should be positive, like generosity, and turns it into a weapon. And what's that weapon for? It's designed for one thing, to make you feel so incredibly guilty that you can't possibly say no. It's a way to just completely tear down any healthy boundaries you're trying to build. So you might be wondering, how does this whole trap get set in the first place? Well, it turns out there's a pretty clear, predictable pattern to it. It almost always goes down like this. First, someone does something kind for you. Then, sometime later, could be weeks, could be months, you try to set a perfectly reasonable boundary. You just say no to something. And bam, that's when they pull it out. They bring up that past kindness, and suddenly you're drowning in guilt. You're made to feel like you're the selfish one, like you're totally ungrateful. And that's the whole game right there. The goal is so simple, but so effective. It's to make saying no feel like an act of betrayal. Your perfectly healthy boundary is twisted into this big personal slight against them. It's not even about the original favor anymore. It's about making you feel like a terrible person just for having your own limits. So, how do you get out of this trap? The absolute key is learning to see it for what it really is. It's all about recognizing when something isn't a gift, but a transaction in disguise. Let's put it side by side, because it's really black and white when you look at it. A true gift that's given freely, no strings attached. Period. But a kindness weapon? Oh, that always comes with invisible strings, and they're just waiting to be pulled the second you try to do something for yourself. And the fallout from this is huge. It doesn't build a relationship, it absolutely corrodes it. It poisons any genuine connection you might have. It makes setting a simple boundary feel like this impossible, monumental task. And in the end, what does it create? Not gratitude. It creates resentment. Deep, simmering resentment. So, let's wrap this up with the most important takeaway. It all comes down to making a really powerful shift in your perspective, looking at these interactions in a totally new light. Here's the bottom line. The moment you start seeing the difference between a real gift and a transaction with a hidden price tag, everything changes. Once you realize some favors are just invoices waiting to be sent, you get the power back. You get to decide if you want to accept those terms in the first place. You're not just a pawn in their game anymore. So, I really want to leave you with this question. Think about the relationships in your own life. When people are kind to you, are you receiving genuine gifts, or are you just collecting future invoices? It's something worth thinking about.